262. Ghastly Roommate, Edenemy, Chapter 5, Turtles, Turtles, and More Turtles. One of them is dead. Notes. Someone made an audiobook of the first chapter. Here's the link to it if you want to listen. https://m.youtube/watch. V=R3JSTFLJ Maya. See the end of the chapter for more notes. Chapter text. Yuichi had done a lot of dumb things in his life. Getting a grape stuck up his nose for a year. Fighting a gang of bats in pitch darkness. Moving to New York. The list goes on. So, following a giant snapping turtle yokai into the sewers was really like an average Tuesday for him. Raph was around 6'5", by Yuichi's estimate, and was built like a tank. Yuichi had no doubt the man could single-handedly lift a school bus. And yet, he felt no fear around him. Sure, Raph was intimidating, but he didn't seem like the kidnapping type, and his stature didn't feel threatening. The turtle carried himself like a man in mourning, which Yuichi assumed was because of his own ghostly companion. Leo, the ghost, was Raph's dead brother. He had died while the 4 turtle brothers were fighting the Krong invasion a few months earlier. Yuichi didn't know the whole story, but apparently Leo had sacrificed himself to save the world. Now, they were going to the turtle's lair. Suddenly, Raph stopped. Hey, rabbit, he began to say. Yuichi corrected. Yuichi, he continued. When we get back, wait until I get everyone together, and then you can explain. He paused, considering his words. Explain? What you're there for? Yuichi watched as a droplet of water dripped from a pipe and landed in a puddle between them. Plop. Raphael, you don't believe that I can talk with your brother, do you? The snapping turtle paused. I don't know what to believe. He turned around and continued onward. Hamato Home Security. A voice suddenly rang out, seemingly from nowhere. Please state your name and business. Raph sighed, rubbing his forehead. Don, it's me. A record scratch, then. WHO is ME. There's no ME in our system. The disembodied voice rang out. All trespassers must be incinerated. Just then, a colorful assortment of firearms and other weapons appeared out of a trapdoor in the ceiling. Dozens of red dots pointed at Yuichi and Raph's heads. Raph groaned again. Raphael, your brother, he said. Just coming home? The voice took a moment to respond, probably checking its commands. Raph may enter, it responded. But the guns and glowing dots did not disappear. They just only pointed at Yuichi now. Noticing this, Raph hastily added. And this is Yuichi, he's with me. A loud groan from the speaker. Fei, you never let Emmy incinerate anyone. The guns retracted. Raph sighed. Sorry, ever since. He shook his head. Donnie's been extra excessive on security. Yeah? That sounds like him, Leo commented, smiling sadly. He looked at Yuichi. Ask Raph how Don is for me. The rabbit smiled. Leo wants to know how Donnie is doing, he said to Raph. The turtle's face tightened, the stress lines on his forehead becoming more prominent. I don't know if he's really here, as you say. But if he is, Donnie hasn't spoken to anyone since the invasion. Raph shook his head. Leo's death was hard on all of us, but it hit poor Donnie especially hard. Them being twins. Oh, Yuichi looked over at Leo. There were tears in his eyes. Raph nodded. I'm really sticking my neck out for you by letting you in our home. So if you're lying, I can't guarantee I can protect you from my brothers. Yuichi could live with that. But the problem was, he didn't know how to prove that he was telling the truth. They walked into the lair and wow, somehow, the turtles had converted an old, abandoned subway station into a livable home. There was electricity, running water, even a kitchen with all the amenities. And the entire place was decked out in impressive graffiti and furniture. Yuichi heard Leo giggle next to him. If you think this is impressive, you should have seen our old lair. Old lair? Yuichi asked. Why'd you move? Leo shrugged. Animated suit of armor. As if that explained anything. Are you talking to Leo right now? Raph asked hesitantly, startling Yuichi, who nodded in response. Oh, alright. I'm gonna go get my brothers if you want to come with. Yuichi, Leo said. Can you stay here with me? I don't know if he didn't finish the thought, but Yuichi caught the meaning. He wasn't ready to see his brothers yet. Actually, Leo wants me to stay here, Yuichi told Raph. We can try to discuss how to explain this whole, situation. Raph nodded. Holler if you need anything. And he was off. Donnie threw his screwdriver against the wall of his lab. This shouldn't be this difficult. The project he was working on should have been child's play to him. And yet nothing. He hadn't been able to create a halfway decent invention since the incident. They had been calling it, which was an entirely unfit title, and played down what really happened. It wasn't an incident. Leo was dead. When they had gotten his body out of the prison dimension, Donnie felt like something inside him broke. At that moment, he knew Leo was gone. That sense of something broken hadn't left since. And Donnie hasn't been able to do anything worthwhile. He hasn't talked to anyone since the incident. What's the point if not everyone in his family is around to hear his voice? He barely ate. Nothing made him feel whole. He hadn't slept in days. His hands shook from lack of food. If Leo were still here, he would have thrown 3 weighted blankets, and himself, on top of his twin to force him to fall asleep. But Leo's not here, and he never will be again, and a knock sounded at the door. 3 gentle taps. That was how Raph knocked. A gentle giant, he was afraid of disturbing his younger brother. He gently cracked open the door. "Hey Dee," he said softly, peeking through the door. "Can you come out to the TV room? We have a guest." Donnie held his fist palm out in front of his chest, opened it, and closed it again, moving his hand in an arc as he did. April. They had all learned a small amount of American Sign Language years ago, to better communicate with Donnie when he went nonverbal. They used the sign for the month of April for their friend's name. Raph shook his head. "No, someone new. Please just come meet him. He has some things to talk to us about." Donnie spread his hands. "What?" Raph bit his lip and glanced behind him. "Just come with me," Donnie sighed, but got up from his desk. He could use a break anyway. He'd been running himself ragged making the new security system, which still needed work. He could add more deadly weapons. If only he had some uranium. "This better be good," he signed as he walked past his older brother. "I hope so," Raph said. After a few minutes of waiting, Raph walked back toward Yuichi. Donnie went to the TV room. "Like I asked," Raph informed him. "I think Mikey's in the kitchen. You can come with me." Yuichi followed him into an impressive-looking kitchen. At the oven was a shorter turtle, wearing an orange mask and chef's hat. Whatever was in the oven smelled heavenly, and Yuichi really hoped he would get to taste it. "Wow, smells good, Mike," Raph commented. "Thanks, Mikey," the chef beamed. "Who's this?" "This is Yuichi." Yuichi waved. "He's got some news to share with us." Mikey waved back. "Let's hear it, then." Raph bit his cheek. "Not here. I'm gathering everyone in the TV room for it. Do you know where Dad is? And CJ?" Mikey scratched his chin with the back of a ladle. "I think they're actually both in the TV room. Dad wanted to show Casey his Jiu-Jitsu movies." Yuichi perked up. "Jiu-Jitsu? I love Jiu-Jitsu." Raph gave him a look, and he shut up again. "We can watch some after you tell us your news, Yuichi," Mikey offered. This didn't make Yuichi happy. He knew that after the news he shared, the Turtle brothers probably wouldn't want him in their house anymore. "I'll meet you guys in the TV room." Raph, Yuichi, and Leo watched as Mikey left the kitchen. "Listen," Raph started once Mikey was out of earshot. "I don't know if all that you're saying about talking to Leo is the truth, but we've been through a lot. Leo's death is a very sensitive topic. I don't know how my family will react to your news, nor if they'll believe you." He turned toward Yuichi, tears in his eyes. "Just promise me you'll only tell the truth." Yuichi looked into the turtle's eyes. "On that, I can swear." They walked toward the TV room, and to Leo's family, to talk to them about their dead brother, son, and friend. It was going to be a long night. Notes. Hey. This chapter came out fast, because on the last chapter someone wrote a super sweet comment that gave me the motivation to write faster lols, so thanks so much to them. Also go check out my socials. Insta, Edenemy Art, Tumblr, Edenemy Art, TikTok, KilluFrogs.